Welcome to Your Life Reset, a Virta Health podcast series. I'm your host, Teresa Link, and in this series, we'll hear from people on their Virta journey, the wins, failures, moments of adversity, and moments of joy they're experiencing along the way. So sit back, relax, and listen as we unwrap the truly human experience of Virta.
Hey there, listeners. I'm Teresa Link, and this is Your Life Reset. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're diving into what it really means to take care of your mental well-being. Today's guest is Monica Akerele, a social worker and mental health advocate with a passion for helping others heal and thrive. From breaking down stigma to redefining healthcare, Monica brings real talk, practical tips, and plenty of heart. So stick around for a conversation that's honest, uplifting, and full of reminders we all need. Welcome to the show, Monica.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful to be here with you today to discuss this important topic.
I'm so grateful that you're here with us today. Every single year at Virta, you always come to the table in May ready to talk about this topic. And I'm just so excited that we get to dive into it with so much detail today. It's just so important. And I think has become even more important, at least trying to get rid of some of that stigma, right, over the past, several years. But with
Absolutely.
how the world continues to change, it just has to stay top of mind in terms of what can we do? What are our resources? How do we continue to raise awareness?
Absolutely.
So thanks for being here again. And again, it is Mental Health Awareness Month, the month of May. So my first question for you, Monica, is why do you think it's so important for us to talk about this right now?
Well, I would say that at a time when so many people are working to improve their physical health, it's equally essential to acknowledge that mental health is deeply connected. You can't separate the two. So, talking about mental health helps to reduce stigma and encourages people to get the support that they need before stress, burnout, or anxiety starts impacting other areas of life and health.
So considering your background in social work, in the mental health area, working with a lot of people struggling with a variety of very, very difficult situations, where do you see this, if there are some mental health struggles, where do you typically see this start to manifest with people, perhaps, physically?
You're definitely around, but like having headaches. I would say even people starting to experience pain and stiffness in their neck, like tension, things of that nature showing up,
Yeah,
in other parts of their body. So neck,
yeah,
back. Um, but yeah, definitely
yeah.
headaches, just the stress, the tension. People will start to really feel it there.
When people start to feel some of those symptoms, right, we often feel things physically before we kind of understand what's going on, that there could be something emotionally or, psychologically that's contributing. When we start to feel, let's say that, we're tense, maybe the shoulders hurt, maybe you're feeling it, maybe you've got headaches and your body just feels kind of tight. Um, do you have any tips for things that you can do to try to kind of relax, your body and try to release some of that tension, some of that stress?
It's a great question. Definitely I would say getting up from where you are and maybe going to a place where you're not around the source of the stress. So maybe you're at your table, for example, working, and maybe you just need to step away for a moment, and go out in nature, maybe, and just walk around, like just change your scenery and move away from the source of stress and then come back to it, after you've had an opportunity to just walk away.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important and very simple, something that we forget about, especially if you're, sitting in front of a computer all day, which so many of us are. It's easy to just work all the way through, skip lunch, all of that stuff is so easy. I hate to admit I do that a lot. But it seems like something as simple as getting up, walking around a little bit, maybe stretching, can really help release some of that.
Even
Um,
some even some some, breathing, deep breathing exercises as well.
Mhm.
Practicing some
Mhm.
mindfulness in that moment and, doing a body scan, all the things,
Yeah.
that can help just calm you down and bring you back to equilibrium. So,
So, Monica, you mentioned coming back to the present, trying to be mindful of your surroundings, something as simple as getting up and walking around. So when you're having those moments of tension, when you're feeling that stress, that anxiety, let's say it's during the workday, what techniques do you do to kind of help relieve some of that?
I would definitely deploy some deep breathing exercises. Just stop what I'm doing, close my laptop, and breathe in deeply, just as if you were getting ready to start a yoga session. Generally, some of those breathing exercises would take place. Um, I would breathe in for like 30 seconds and breathe out, you know, hold it for a little bit and then breathe out. I'd also do some stretches. Another thing that I would do is start massaging my own neck and massaging my temples, doing some simple stretches, leaning my neck to the side and then to the other
Okay,
side.
do that. I'm gonna do it here. I'm gonna do it here with you. So you tell me
Okay.
what to do, and I'll massage my temples.
Yep.
Okay.
Massage your temples a little bit and then just focus in on that. Then once you're done with
I need someone
that.
to massage my neck back here for me.
And then I just take my head. And then I would, just take my head and go to the side from side to side, just hold that stretch a little bit.
Okay, everybody do this
I
with
would I
us.
would close my
Everybody do
eyes.
this with us.
Close my eyes and then go to the other side and feel that stretch.
Don't fall asleep.
Oh no, it's so easy. So, and you can definitely, practically, some companies offer the Calm app, Calm Health app. And so there are different exercises that you can do within that. And if your company doesn't offer the Calm Health app as a benefit, you can maybe get into the Calm app where some of those exercises are available too. And of course, there's YouTube University where you can just plug in, mindfulness, a quick stretch or what have you, and just turn that on. That's a real free way to get that
Yeah,
quick, mindfulness or deep breathing exercise in during the course
yeah.
of your
There are
workday.
so many free things that you can have, right? If you
Absolutely.
have a specific app, that can be very handy. If not, yeah, you can just go into, like you said, YouTube, YouTube University. I love that. You can learn anything on there. Um, yeah, and find free just even typing in, meditation.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
close your eyes and it is amazing what it does. It really is. I think it's so easy to say, "Ugh, I don't have time for that," or "It's not really even gonna help," but, like, it really does help, gets you kind of recentered. So I'm hearing from you, that's one way that you can get yourself kind of back into that state of mindfulness and
Exactly.
release some of that tension, maybe built
Tension.
up anxiety that you're feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it only takes what? How long do you need to do this?
You could there are some short ones, like 5 minutes, literally. So it's really accessible to everyone.
Awesome. 5 minutes.
5 minutes, as long
We
as you
all
have
have 5
yeah.
minutes. We all have 5 minutes. Okay. Well, thanks for leading us through that demonstration. Next time we have you on, we'll just do like an entire demonstration of mindfulness techniques and stretching, and it'll be great. So get ready, everyone. Okay. So again, I had mentioned you've got this background in social work. You've seen a lot of people going through some pretty significant life stressors. Um, and you're very passionate about mental health. So what kinds of mental health struggles are you seeing kind of come up the most these days?
I would say a lot of people are really grappling with chronic stress, depression, anxiety,
Mhm.
especially related to, trying to prevent, address, and work to reverse chronic health concerns like obesity,
Mhm.
type 2 diabetes, cancer, heart disease. I also see it popping up in the area of people trying to achieve work-life balance and keeping up with the rising costs of food, medications,
Mhm. Yeah.
products, services, you know. Some are experiencing it in the realm of just feeling lonely and isolated. At the end of the day, people just wanna feel better, but
Yeah.
they're overwhelmed and not really sure where to start. So,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
What it kinda sounds like to me then is there may not need to be an official, like, diagnosis of anxiety or depression or any other mental health, disorder for you to be really struggling with areas of your mental health. Is that true?
That's really true. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot
In
of it being
fact yeah.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in fact, some people experience what's called situational depression. That's
Okay.
based on a circumstance that may come up that was never an issue,
Mhm.
um, uh, but is a presenting issue now, that's causing
Mhm.
distress. So,
Yeah.
yeah, some things are not diagnosed.
Yeah. And when things feel very uncertain, which I think a lot of us are feeling that way, um, at this point in time, there's just a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainty, and that can obviously situational depression, situational anxiety, and
Absolutely.
it's not just about waiting for it to pass, but trying to find ways to help yourself, now. Like don't wait.
Right.
So it's actually a pretty good segue for my next question. Everybody talks about self-care. It's like this buzzword. What's your self-care, right? It can mean so many different things and it can look very different for different people. But I'm curious to know, what does self-care look like for you?
Ooh, great question. I would say real self-care for me is about being proactive, not waiting until I'm burned out. It's maybe setting an appointment with my therapist, setting boundaries, prioritizing sleep, which is a huge one that I'm working on, still working on today, to get that, 7 to 8 hours of sleep daily. I would say it's also, especially in light of what you just shared, protecting my peace and by reducing my exposure to like negative news uh, sources,
Yeah.
to even negative or mindless scrolling on social media because sometimes things will pop up on that feed that will totally just, uh, you know, not boost your mood. It may bring you down a little bit. So just really trying to be mindful of that, protecting my peace. Also getting movement in and making time for relationships that nourish me.
Yeah. A proactive approach sounds like it's the best approach, right?
Absolutely.
Rather than, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out and I have so much anxiety and I'm spinning. I gotta figure out something to do in the moment. And sure, that is very helpful, but also how can we implement some of these things ahead of time so that we are in that mode of taking care of ourselves? That's a top priority. So I'm hearing that you
Exactly.
are really making yourself a top priority, and that is so important. And really, that's something that we all need to do. We all need to,
Yeah.
just like the oxygen tank or the oxygen masks drop down, you gotta put it on yourself before you put it on, someone else. We have to take care of ourselves so that we can then be our best selves for other people, and that means being proactive. So,
Absolutely, and speaking up for yourself when you're feeling overwhelmed. So, letting those who are connected to you know what your mental health truth is in that moment so that you can get the support that you need. So it's very important to not only to just check in with yourself, take a moment to check in with yourself and, say, "Okay, self." I mean, you don't have to talk to yourself, but you know what I mean.
self
Check
I
in
know.
yourself and say, "What's really going on with me right now? Like, am I really just, stressed for why am I stressed?" And get to what that is instead of just powering through, like, okay, whatever that the issue may be, find either an outlet to talk with someone, whether that's your therapist or what have you, or do what, those self-care things that we know that we can do, activities that we know we can do to kind of get through that maybe tough moment.
So you mentioned that you'll do proactive things like maybe set up an appointment with your therapist, talk to friends. If you could design a day, like the perfect day that is really, let's say you have a day off, right?
Okay.
And you really just want to have this day to be something where you nourish yourself. What would that look like for you?
Great question. I would say, honestly, it would be a day without a packed schedule, like no agenda, a lot of open space. I'd start with a slow morning, definitely maybe move my body. But before I start moving my body, I actually would get a cup of coffee made.
Coffee.
Coffee is
Yes.
the first order of business, okay? Um, I would, maybe, after that, and I definitely put some collagen in my coffee as well. But,
Okay.
after I do that, then I'll go out and get a hike in, a walk around the neighborhood, just go out in nature, maybe for 30, 45 minutes. And after that, come back in, maybe get some resistance training in, because especially at this perimenopausal age that I'm in right now, resistance training is very top of mind because I want to go into my menopause era with, my muscle mass and stat and health. So I want to maintain that muscle mass. So, but I would also just maybe unplug from technology since I work with technology all week long, unplug from technology. Um, and again, to reduce my exposure to any disturbing or sad news as much as possible. Connect with a friend, connect with a family member, connect with a neighbor, do something in my community, give back to my community, um, or do something very creative. I'm a singer,
Mhm.
songwriter. So I would definitely do some type of singing or create a new song, reading a book, curl up and read a book, dance, do some creative writing or gratitude journaling. That's one of my go-tos. I love to gratitude journal every day. Find that one thing in the midst of a crazy day that I'm grateful for and just be fully present, not rushed, living in the moment. I would say that would be the perfect self-care day.
Perfect self-care day. Yeah, and it sounds like you would go into the next day or go into the evening, maybe when other people come into your home and it's not quiet anymore. Refreshed, right? Refreshed, but
Exactly.
you don't have to have a day off to do those things, right? Maybe the full day, but you can implement those small pieces into every single day.
For sure. Just like last night, I can speak, for example, when I got off work. I was like, "Oh, man, I actually didn't get to start my day with my first, which is what I generally do from a, ritual standpoint is start my day off with a walk. I didn't get to do that, nor did I get to do that on my lunch break, so I used, the time after work to get a quick 30-minute walk in, and it was just beautiful being out in nature, actually, seeing the sun about to set.
Yeah.
It was just a beautiful just walk, peaceful walk, listening to the birds chirp, to the frogs do what they do. It was just a beautiful moment just to get out in nature and to just de-stress after a work day.
So when we're talking about, after work, that can be a really overwhelming time for some people. The work day's done, and then maybe you have family members you're taking care of, maybe parents you're taking care of, maybe children you're taking care of. Maybe your husband gets home or your wife or your partner and they just want to talk, 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 and you just want some space, right? Something that we tried to implement in our house is checking your color,
Mm,
right? Am I at a green? Am I, feeling good? Yellow, orange, or red? Um, yellow, I would say, like, okay, maybe proceed with caution, proceed slowly. I'm feeling a little bit overstimulated.
right, right.
My daughter's been talking the entire time for the past 30 minutes, and I just need a little minute. Orange, yeah, maybe just don't talk at all. And then red, I jokingly say, just take cover, prepare for impact. But hopefully we don't get to red if we're checking our color ahead of time. So that's something if I, come home after a long day and I've just picked up my kid from school, I will come into the house and if we remember, my husband will say, "Hey, what's your color?"
Oh, I love it. That's a great system.
Yeah, yeah. And most of the time it's yellow. After, pickup and all of that, I'll say, "It's yellow. Okay, I just need a minute
Right.
before you ask me about my day." And then I'll be like, "Okay, all right. I'm green. I'm good. We can kinda share now." And that to me feels like a great way to it feels simple, but it also feels like a great way for us to just kind of say, "Okay, here's where I'm at right now mentally, and here's maybe what I need from you," without
Absolutely.
having to try to explain it so well. It's just like, "Here's my color. I'm orange. I'm
Perfect.
orange."
Hmm.
It's not something we
Yeah.
try to do. It is a bit more, reactive, but planning it ahead of time, I think, is helpful. It gives me that sense of calm. But I am totally with you. For me, it's gotta be prioritizing physical activity. It just has to be there, and as soon as the weather starts to get, nice, I gotta get myself outside.
Yes.
Gotta walk wherever I can. I gotta ride my bike wherever I can. Just that breeze in your face. I think I'm sure I know there's studies about this.
And the
Being
sun
in
on your skin,
nature,
right? Yeah,
sun
the
on your
sun on your
skin.
skin, the endorphins start flowing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, even just getting outside, right? There's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. What's the hurricane, tornado? I mean, there are some exceptions to that, right?
Right.
Okay, moving back to where we were. Um, you talked about things that help you kind of de-stress, things that you can do proactively. You mentioned dancing, singing. I think there are just kind of silly things people can do too. When I can tell I have a 5-year-old, when I can tell she's just kind of, ugh, we'll try to shake our sillies out. I'll kind of grab
Yes.
her shoulders and just be like, "Okay, let's shake it out. Let's shake our sillies out." And that, yeah, it like really, you really do. You shake it out. It's that movement.
Mhm.
And so things like that can just be so simple and effective, and they don't take long. And so, Monica, this has been so helpful, not only to hear about the importance of this during Mental Health Awareness Month. Honestly, every month needs to be Mental Health Awareness Month, but we'll take it. We'll take
Absolutely.
May. We'll
I
take
agree.
May. So, for our listeners, what is a piece of advice that you might give our listeners, family, friends, our members? What's that advice you might give them? And then maybe it's also something you might have to remind yourself of every now and then.
It's a great question. I would say make self-care intentional. It's so easy to deprioritize it when life gets busy or stressful. But if you don't make space for it, everything else will suffer. I have to remind myself often that self-care isn't selfish because I'm always caring for others and putting others before me. But this is your opportunity to take up space and say, you know what, um, show up fully in that moment and just say, I'm going to take this time for myself and do what I need to do to fill my cup. So that way I can pour out to others, right? And so that helps me to show up fully, whether that's in my work, with my family, with my friends, in my community, or in supporting others on their health journey. So yeah, I would just say take up space with self-care. Don't think that you're too busy to do it, that it's not accessible. Self-care is accessible. That's the one thing in the midst of all the things we cannot control in this world, right? That we can, uh, make space for intentional self-care. Even if it's just one thing, just start with one thing. Like I created a habit stack with even drinking coffee in the morning. That once I have my coffee, the next thing after that is my walk. So that's one thing every day that I can do, even if it's just for 15 minutes. Get that done.
Such wise words to end on, Monica. Thank you so much for being here today. And I look forward to the next time you coming back, you just walking us through a giant episode of relaxation.
All
I
right.
can't wait. Thanks so much again for being here. And it's always great to hear from you. And I look forward to having you back on the show very soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on Apple or Spotify. And if you'd like to regain control of your metabolic health and feel like yourself again, check us out at Virta.com. That's VIRTA.com. Your Life Reset is for informational purposes only and shouldn't be considered a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Contact your provider if you suspect you have a medical problem. I'll chat with you all again soon. Until then, stay inspired, my friends.